Hey, what's up, you guys? Today I'll be talking about Stand By Me and the Crucible relating to human experiences. Now, they are both period pieces, making the themes more poignant. The Crucible is an allegory for America in the era of McCarthyism, while Stand By Me is a coming-of-age venture that molds each boy for the future. Both texts are intended to deliver an emotive, confronting story, encouraging the audience to learn about themselves and the nature of life and death. Transgression and redemption isn't about the sin in itself, but how a person seeks forgiveness from who they have wronged. In the Crucible, Hale's sin was unintentionally aiding the witch hunt, and he was unable to redeem himself. In the beginning of the play, Hale was eager to pursue witches, and so unknowingly aided with falsifying confessions. Here, through his rhetorical questions, Hale allowed Abigail to take advantage of the information he has given her, and further aids Abigail's claims by failing to question her motivations. After his metamorphosis, Hale tries to disprove Abigail's claims, but they have obtained too much credit. In this quote, a metaphor is used to convey Hale's guilt of giving rise to the devastating witch trials. His frantic tone is used to show the tension within himself, as he doesn't want the guilt of more deaths on his conscience. In the Crucible, Proctor struggles to redeem himself from his past transgressions. He wronged Abigail, his wife, and God when he committed adultery. This metaphor highlights the guilt he feels about the affair, and foreshadows the violent nature of the play, indirectly caused by his own transgression. He damaged Abigail by abandoning her after their affair, and Proctor made amends for this sin and his reluctance to confess in death. Proctor stays true to what he believes, and so he is redeemed from all past transgressions for doing what is right over what is easy. This scene, through stage directions and metaphors, show his character development, and how through difficult situations he became a better person. In Stand By Me, transgression and redemption is heavily present in Chris's storyline. Chris struggles not only to make up for his own transgressions, but also those of his family. Throughout the film, Chris constantly makes attempts to right wrongs. The line, "This town," is symbolic of the mistake made by Chris and his family. The line showing that Chris believes he will never be able to make up for them and move on with his life. Ironically, Chris has already gotten out of town and started making up for his mistakes. Being drawn out of town and into nature symbolises the shedding of baggage, stepping into a more fulfilling life, and marks the start of Chris's character development. Chris ultimately ends up dying, trying to redeem himself, and put moral distance between him and his family stuck back in Castle Rock. Truncated sentences are used to express the urgency of the writer and the need to tell the story of Chris's redemption to the world. Power can appear in multiple forms, but the nature of this power can be determined by their desire to achieve justice for either others or themselves. Abigail's power was derived from her need to acquire the justice the town deprived her from. She obtained this power through the manipulation of the church and used it to acquire a convoluted justice for herself. Proctor ending their affair broke Abigail's heart, and the witch trials gave her the opportunity to get revenge on Proctor and the Salem authorities. An accidenton is used in this quote to show the desperate state Abigail is in after having no closure after their affair. Her repressed anger towards Salem and jealousy towards Elizabeth is made clear through repetition and alliteration. Abigail then disappears in the middle of the play, and so there is no justice for Abigail nor the town. While Abigail gains power through manipulation and uses it for revenge, Chris gains power through struggle and hardship. Chris, similarly to Abigail, had a disadvantaged childhood. Nobody expected him to become anything other than trouble. This mentality is highlighted when Chris attempts to give the stolen milk money back, and the teacher takes advantage of his naivety and his reputation. A close-up shot of fractured text conveys how the negative experience has resulted in him becoming distrusting of authority. Abigail and Chris differ with how they deal with their betrayals. Chris, rather than seeking revenge, seeks an escape from his reputation. Hale only obtained power through the church, and when he contradicted the church's ideals, he lost that power. In this quote, the metaphor of the book symbolised the power and knowledge Hale has over the townspeople, and Hale entering the Proctor's home foreshadows his heavy involvement in the Proctor's life and therefore his death. The product of Hale's metamorphosis becomes clear in the last scene, what type of man he has become. His frantic dialogue shows tension within himself and the situation that he has made. He surrenders to the church's power, and stage directions are used to convince others to do the same. He has accepted the church's power over him and would rather survive under any means necessary than die for what is just. In this intertextual scene, Lardass is a symbol of Gordy's thirst for justice. Through vivid imagery and hyperbole, the story of Lardass is told. The Lardass story is a metaphor for Gordy's personal story, a boy who was constantly put down and ignored by authoritative figures, mainly his parents. The story is ironic, as a major source of contention between Gordy and his father is that Mr. LaChance believes writing to be a stupid waste of time. The way Lardass gets justice for himself is paralleled by the way Gordy does, a public platform to have a story told. Gordy, despite his parents, becomes a writer and then has what he lacked in adolescence, an audience to tell his story to. Lardass is an important symbol that marks a change in balance of powers in the film. Stand By Me and The Crucible have very different approaches to conveying human experiences. Stand By Me being a building Roman-style story, while The Crucible delves into the effect dire experiences has on a person. But both challenge assumptions and ignite new ideas in the audience. Alright, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys understood my fast-paced analysis of Stand By Me and the Crucible, and I hope you guys watch next week's edition on Bohemian Rhapsody, Into the Mind of Mercury.